Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for our Bhagavad Gita study session this morning, this afternoon, whatever is the time in your respective zones. Hare Krishna. So we'll start with prayers. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tarale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yakrpadamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in. Welcome all of you once again for our Bhagavad Gita study session today. We are on chapter number 9 entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge. Right? We were discussing how 7 to 12 is the actual jewel of the Bhagavad, right? And 1 to 6 is like the upper lid, and 7 to 13 to 18 is the lower lid of that case, which is holding this beautiful jewel of Bhakti Yoga, which is the center, or which is the jewel of the entire Bhagavad Gita, which is Bhakti Yoga. So 7 to 12 actually characterizes that. So we've been seeing the 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge. What is the most confidential knowledge? The most confidential knowledge is to understand who the Lord is to understand who I am, and understanding Jivera Swarupohe Krishnera Nitya Das. It is my duty to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? That is my constitutional position. I am eternally the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's what is the most confidential knowledge. Right? The confidential knowledge is I'm not this body, I am the spirit soul. The second, the Guhyatamam. Right? So the second level is to understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am a part and parcel. Mahamantra Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manasasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Because we don't understand that we are parts and parcels of the Lord, we are struggling with the mind, including the 5 senses, including the mind. So we are suffering with the 6, including the mind, right? Manasasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. We are struggling. And then, what is the most confidential knowledge? Understanding that Jivera Swarupo He Krishnera Nitya Das. I am a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So having understood that, what we should do, that's what we studied in the last couple of verses, right? Whatever we do, whatever we offer, whatever austerities we perform, yat karoshi, yat ashnashi, yat juhoshi, dadashi, yat tapashyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva mad arpanam. Krishna is saying, offer everything to me. Whatever you do, whatever you give away, whatever austerities you perform, like on Ekadashi we fasted, on Narasimha Chaturdashi we fasted, right? So whatever austerities we perform, right, do that as an offering to me. We are doing it because that is pleasing to the Lord, because that is given in the scriptures. It is pleasing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. And then Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yomya bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparhatam ashnami priyadatmanaha. That is actual bhakti yoga. Actual bhakti yoga means rendering service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Either by offering bhoga, or by dressing the deities, or by performing deity abhishek, or by offering bhoga to the deities, or by offering arati to the deities, or by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? The Navavida Bhakti given by Prahlad Maharaj. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. If you are performing any one of these Nava Angas of Bhakti, then we are actually performing Bhakti Yoga. And then Yatkaroshi, Yadashnashi, Yajuhoshi, that becomes more of Karma Yoga. Right, whatever we do, right, as part of our swadharma, right, we have to have food, and then so we prepare bhoga, offer it to Krishna. That offering of bhoga to Krishna is devotional service, right? But we actually, it depends on our consciousness, which is completely bhakti yoga or karma yoga, right? Otherwise we offer food to Krishna, so that the food is the food is purified, and then we have it, right? So in this way, our offering, our going to office, our earning money, everything can be dovetailed to Krishna. How? By offering a portion of our salary to Krishna. So Yat Karoshi Yashnashi is also Bhakti Yoga, but it's predominantly Karma Yoga. That means whatever I do, whatever I offer, whatever austerities I do it as a service to you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. But what is that? Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prachiti is direct devotional service, engaging in Shravanam to Atma Nivedanam, performing the Nava Angas of Bhakti. That is Bhakti Yoga. And Karma Yoga is also Bhakti Yoga, depending on our consciousness with which you are performing. All right, so let's move ahead. 9.28. Let me share my screen. Devotees can raise your hands and read. Okay, I'm seeing Sridhar Prabhu. Go ahead, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. 9.28. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam Mataji. Shubha Shubha Pralairavam Mokshasya Karma Bandhanai Sanyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Babhuvashyati. Shubha from Ashvyas, Ashubha, and inauspicious Palai result, Evam, thus Muktheya, you will become free, karma of work, Bandhanat, from the bondage, Sanyasa, of reunification, Yoga, the yoga, Yukta Atma, having the mind firmly set on, Vimukta, liberated, Mam, to me, Ubashyadi, you will attain. Translation by Prabhupada, Prabhupada ke Pranam. Hare Krishna. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious result. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of reunification, you will be liberated and come to me. Purport by Prabhupada. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under the superior direction called Yukta, the technical term in Yukta Vairagya. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows. Anya Shaktya Vishayam Yukta Haram
Vishayan Yatarham Upayunjatah Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate.
Hare Krishna. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in this material world, we have to act. We cannot cease acting. Therefore, if actions are performed and the fruits are given to Krishna, then that is called Yukta Vairagya. Actually situated in reunification, such activities clear the mirror of mind. And as the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization, such activities clear the mirror of the mind. And as the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization, he becomes completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, at the end, he become liberated. And this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, he does not become with the Brahma Jyotir, but rather enter into the planet of the Supreme Lord. It is clearly mentioned here, Mam Upashyadi. He comes to me, back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 different stages of liberation, and here it is specified that the devotee who has always lived his lifetime here under the direction of Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting this body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of Supreme Lord. Anyone who has to interest but to dedicate his life to the service of Lord is actually sannyasi. Such a person always thinks of himself as an eternal servant, dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. As such, whatever he does it for the benefit of the Lord. Whatever action he performs it as a service of Lord. He does not give serious attention to the fruitive activities or prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. For ordinary person, it is obligatory to execute the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. But although a pure devotee who is completely engaged in the service of Lord may sometimes appear to go against the prescribed Vedic duties, actually it is not so. It is said that by Vaishnava authorities that even the most intelligent person cannot understand the plan and activities of pure devotees. The exact word in the Tantra Vairagya, Kriya Mudra Vijnana na bajaya.
Kriya Mudra Vigneha na
bajaya. A person who is thus always engaged in the service of Lord, or is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord, is to be considered completely liberated at present, and in the future is going back home, back to Godhead is guaranteed. He is above all materialistic criticism, that just as Krishna is above all criticism. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Dandot Pranam. It's very beautiful. Immediately, as I was reading this, I was thinking of Prabhupada only, right? It is mentioned in the Vedic scriptures that a sannyasi should not cross the ocean. A sannyasi should not light a fire, right? What did Prabhupada do? As soon as he took sannyas, he had one book of Bhagavatam. Immediately he went to the Western world. He prepared nice, wonderful prasadam by cooking only on the gas, right? So did Prabhupada go against the Varnashrama Dharma? Being a sannyasi, he did some things which are not prescribed? Of course not, right? Because he is a Vaishnava Acharya, according to time, place, and circumstances, seemingly performs some activities which are not as per the scriptures, right? That's why it's given here that great devotee's activities, what is going on in his mind, Tara Vakya, the word spoken, Kriya, the activities, Mudra, the hand gestures, Vigneha, what the thought process of a pure devotee cannot bujaya. We cannot understand the activities, the thought, the plans, the actions of a pure devotee of the Lord, right? So we should not comment unnecessarily and cause a destruction for our own spiritual life, right? We are supposed to maintain and protect our own Bhakti Lata, right? Our Bhakti Lata Bija, the seed that we've got with the mercy of Guru. We are watering that very nicely. The Bhakti Lata is actually growing. The creeper is actually growing very nicely, right? But we should ensure that we don't put any, we don't add anything, or we don't allow the weeds also to grow along with the plant, right? If the weeds also grow along with the plant, then there will come a time when the weeds will overpower the plant, and will there be no place for the plant to grow. The plant will be choked and it will die, right? So that is why it is said that we are no authority to comment who's doing what, who's not doing what. It's not our business, right? We don't know how advanced a devotee is, why he's doing what he's doing. Unless we are the Shiksha Guru of somebody, we should not comment on anybody else doing something, not doing something, right? Unless and the authority is only there with the teacher, right, who is actually helping one progress in Krishna consciousness. Because when we comment about others, it is mostly in terms of envy, It is mostly in terms of being jealous of that particular devotee. That is why it is better, right? Even if a bad thought comes in the mind, immediately, last time we discussed, we have to immediately introspect. Why am I thinking bad about the devotee? What are those qualities of that particular devotee that inspires me? Everybody has got at least one quality that can inspire us. Either they wake up in the morning for Brahma Muhurta chanting, either they're doing wonderful boga offering for the Lord, either they're doing nice abhishek, either doing nice kirtan, either they're doing book distribution very nicely, whatever may be the seva, right? Whatever they are doing very nicely, what we genuinely are appreciative of, we should immediately go and appreciate that particular person. That is the way we can counteract our tendencies to speak inappropriately. Because in Kali Yuga, we have an advantage, right? Many times we discuss this. It is good to reiterate. In Kali Yuga, we don't get punished for thoughts. So it is we have the free will to not contemplate on any bad thought, right? That's why it is said that, if you want to watch television, sometimes the thought comes in the mind, oh, a cricket match, India-Pakistan match is coming, let me watch it. Right? Then what we should do? Okay, I have my 2 rounds left. Let me complete these 2 rounds and then I will think about it. Right? Anything that is not anukulena, right? Whatever is not anukul, then what we have to do? We have to just try to postpone it. We have to trick the mind like that. Right? But when we want to chant more rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that time we should not say, okay, let me go, let me have some prasadam and come and chant. No. If you have the desire to chant, then everything else can wait. Right? We want to chant Hare Krishna. That is the exclusive activity which is going to take me back home, back to Godhead, isn't it? So I will chant Hare Krishna. Right? If I want to donate to an International Study of Krishna Consciousness, right? For book distribution or for anything, right? Annadan, right? I want to make. Immediately we should do the bank transfer. We should not think, okay, बाद में करते हैं, बाद में नहीं आएगा, right? या फिर the mind will trick us. Okay, why to give? Last month only we gave, right? So in the class also somebody was saying, right? Nitya seva, that is whatever charity, that is the duty of a grahastha. Whatever charity we're able to perform, and whenever we get the opportunity, immediately we should do it. Why? Because it helps us advance in devotional service. Any anukulena, whatever is anukul for our bhakti, we should do it immediately. Whatever is pratikul, whatever is not favorable, we should postpone it. We should trick the mind saying, okay, I will do this first, I will do this later. After that, I will come back to this. I will definitely do it. I will come back to this later. Right? What if we cannot watch a live match? We can always watch the highlights later on after seeing who has won, isn't it? So that is the way we trick our mind. And later on, like what is there to see in a match which is already over and the result is also out? Right? So in that way, what is happening? We are not allowing our mind to trick us. We are tricking the mind and we are saving ourselves from spending so much of time watching the cricket match, isn't it? So that is the way we need to trick our mind. That is why it is said a devotee is very intelligent. He knows how to control the mind. He knows how to engage in the service of the Lord. He knows what are the thoughts to be contemplated upon. What are the thoughts that needs to be negated? What are the thoughts that need to be converted into some other thought? All of these only a devotee can do. That is why in the association of a devotee, we develop all these good qualities. All right. So why were we discussing this? So a devotee is above all materialistic criticism, just like Krishna is above all criticism, right? So we don't know how advanced a devotee is. Better we safeguard ourselves from the association of materialistic people, because that will give the seed of criticism, right? Because if 2 people who are not devotees meet, what they will talk? They will only talk about the third person, what they did, what they didn't do, why they did, what they went shopping, what they bought, what they ate, what the neighbors are telling, what car they bought. Is it of any use? Is it any value? It is zero value. What sari a person has bought, or what car a person has bought, or whatever nonsense. I wouldn't say nonsense, they're all energies of the Lord. But we don't want to waste our time talking about it, right? Because it is not helping us in bhakti. Right? Rather, we can discuss, what book did you read? Did you read Bhagavad Gita? Did you read Bhagavatam? What did you read? What did you like? Right? Machitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam gatayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That is what the devotees do. They talk about how many rounds of chanting we did, what book did you read, what was your realization after the session, right? This Anusha Mataji, every class, she sends the key points of the class. What are the key points that are her realizations, right? That's why I always encourage devotees, even if it is 1 point, it is okay, right? What is our key realization for the class? Because this is not for entertainment. We are not having a nice 1 hour time pass. No, we are discussing the pastimes of the Lord. We are discussing how we can advance in bhakti. Right? If we don't even have one key point that is our takeaway that we want to incorporate in our life, then it is Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. We've just heard, and if it's gone through this year, what is the use, right? Of course, hearing itself is an anga of bhakti that will help us advance, but we should try to at least make note of 1 or 2 points. Okay, this is something I do, but how can I better it? Oh, this is something I can start doing, right? Because we're reading the purports of Prabhupada, right? And definitely from the purports of Prabhupada, we can, in this particular purport itself, you understand? Right? If at all I have the urge to criticize somebody, right, then immediately I have to glorify that person. Immediately I have to take my mind off it. Right? Any one point, the takeaway from the class, we have to have. Otherwise, there is no point, right? Because we are just hearing for the purpose of entertainment. Okay, let's move ahead. Text number 29. Okay, Rajanish Prabhu, go ahead. Oh, you already read, right, Prabhu?
No, sir.
Oh, no, Sridhar Prabhu read. Yes, yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
Samoham sarvabhuteshu name tveshyosti na priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya naite teshu chapya. Samah, equally disposed, aham, I, sarvabhuteshu, to all living entities, na, no one, me, to me, divishya, hateful, asti, is, na, or, priya, priya, dear, ye, those who bhajanti, render transcendental service to what, mam, unto me, bhaktya, in devotion, I, are in me, they, such persons, is true in them, also, api, certainly, I. Translation, I and why no one, nor am I partial to anyone, I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me, devotion is sent in me, and I am also a friend to him. Purpose. One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is his special friend, then why does he take special interest in devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination, it is natural. Any man in this material world may be very charitable, yet he has yet he has yet he has a special interest in no children. The Lord claims that every living entity in whatever form is his son, and so he provides everyone with a generous supply of necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for his devotees, he gives specific attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They are always in Krishna consciousness, and therefore they are always transcendently connected to Krishna. The very phrase Krishna consciousness very suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists situated in him. The Lord says here distinctly, may they are in me. Actually, as a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This also explains the words ye yatha me prapadayante tam tetva
Tam
bhajyami
sadaiva
aham.
bhajami aham.
Those whoever surrender unto me, proportionality, I take care of him. This transcendental reciprocation exists because both the Lord and the devotee are conscious. When a diamond is set in golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time, the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity eternally glitter, and when a living entity becomes blind to service of the living Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice. Living entities in a pure state are called devotees. The Supreme Lord becomes the devotee of his devotees if a reciprocal relationship is not present between the devotee and the Lord. Then there is no personalist philosophy. In this impersonal philosophy, there is no reciprocity between and living, but in personalist philosophy, there is. The example is often given that the Lord is like a desired tree, and whatever one wants from this desired tree, the Lord provides. But here the explanation is more complete. The Lord is here stated to be partial to devotees. This is the manifestation of the Lord's special mercy to the devotees. The Lord's justification should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It belongs to the transcendental situation in which the Lord and his devotees devotional service to the Lord, not in activity of this material world. It is part of the spiritual world where eternity, bliss, and knowledge predominate. Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So, two, three very important points Prabhupada makes here. This actually talks about how the Lord is simultaneously, what Lord is inconceivable, right? Achintya Abheda Bheda Tattva. That is what the Lord is equal to the Jiva in terms of quality, but not equal to the living entity in terms of the quantity. Similarly, the Lord is here saying one more apparent contradiction. That the Lord is saying that I am equal to all living entities. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I'm equal to all the living entities, but at the same time, I am partial to my devotees, right? Bhajantya mam bhaktya, mayi teteshu chapyaham. Right? Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, mayi teteshu chapyaham. Those who are devoted to me, I am in them, and they are always in me. So Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example here, how even the parents, right? If we see that our personalist philosophy, it actually talks about reciprocation according to the level of surrender. Ye tamam prapadyante tam sadaiva bhajamyaham. That means, however a person actually reciprocates with another, right, their relationship to that extent grows, isn't it? Like for example, if someone is really helping us in all situations, right, trying to help us in terms of conducting the class, or trying to send the messages or whatever maybe, right, in some way they always want to help us, then we are especially inclined to that kind of that devotee, isn't it? It is natural. So here Prabhupada is actually talking about that, because we are not talking about some kind of light, right, where we don't have any emotions, right, while we are equal to all, right. What is that? Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuni chaiva swapakaya swabhagecha panditaha samadarshinaha. So even the devotees like that of the Lord, they are also panditaha, they are samadarshinaha only, right? Lord is also samoham sarva bhuteshu. The Lord is equal to all the living entities. The Lord does not have anybody whom the Lord can say, I'm partial to such a person. Similarly, it is true for devotees also. Vidya vinaya sampanne, right? When a devotee sees another living entity, he only sees the spirit soul. The Lord is present, right, in that particular form of the entity also. So there is equal respect. That is why we also respect all living entities. We don't even touch with our leg, right? We offer respect to every living entity, right, as much as possible. So this is the mood of a devotee, that a devotee is also equal to all living entities. At the same time, devotees also are personally inclined towards those who help them, right? Somebody who always helps us in distress, are we not favorably inclined to that person? Why? Because we are people, we are individuals, we have feelings, isn't it? It's not that I'm a person without any feeling, I'm equal to everybody, right? It does not happen like that. Similarly, the Lord is a supreme person, right? Sachit Ananda Vigraha. So the Lord is also favorably inclined to those devotees who always engage in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this reciprocation is what gives the personal touch in between the Lord and his devotees. Okay, let's move ahead. Text number 30. Text number 30. Okay, Deval Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, namaste.
That was
अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्य सम्यक् व्यवसितो हि सः. Synonyms: api, even, Chet, if Sudharachara, one committing the most abominable actions, Bhajate, is engaged in devotional service, Mam, unto me, Ananya Bhak, without deviation, Sadhuhu, a saint, Eva, certainly, Saha, he, Mantavyaha, is to be considered, Samyak, completely, Vyavasitaha, situated in determination, he, certainly, Saha, he. Translation: even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The word Suduracharaha used in this verse is very significant and we should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for the devotees, in connection with the conditional life, and such activities are called conditional. Besides these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature, who is engaged in Krishna consciousness or the devotional service of the Lord, has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position, and they are technically called devotional service. Now, in the conditioned state, sometimes devotional service and the conditional service in relation to the body will parallel one another. But then again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He knows the perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially or politically, but such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord being situated within his heart purifies him and excuses him from the abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes become ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always a success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path. For as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in the due course as soon as the devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. The words Sadhureva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are a warning to the non-devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly, even if he has accidentally fall down. And the word mantavyaha is still more emphatic. If one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. In the Narsimha Purana, the following statement is given: Bhagavati chaharav ananya cheta vrishamalinopi virajate mano nahi shasha kalusha chabhi kadachit timi.
Timirapara bhavata vaiti chandaka.
The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusionary energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs, as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee. Hare Krishna Matarida. Thank you, Dhanut Pranam.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah, so we remember this Ajamil's pastime also, right? Ajamil was a Brahmin actually, but when he saw when he saw that sight, in the forest, when he had gone to collect some firewood, he saw, a prostitute engaged in the acts of sex. And what happens? He got bewildered, right? Immediately, because he did not have the association of devotees, he fell down from that position, right? And then later on, because he was engaged in pious activities, he was engaged in devotional service to the Lord, and throughout his life until that particular point. Later on, although he actually fell down due to a momentary association with something that is not conducive to devotional life, because he contemplated on that thought, right? He completely destroyed his entire life to the extent that he drove away his wife, and he started living with that particular prostitute in his own home. He started disrespecting his parents. All those things he started doing. But by the mercy of the Lord, right? It's a neha vikramanashosi pratyavayona vidyate. Right? There is no loss or diminution in the path of bhakti. So because of that, by the grace of the Lord, he named his last son Narayan. He was very attached to Narayan. And in the last moment of his life, he thought of his son Narayan, right? Whomever we attach to throughout our life, that person only we will remember at the time of death. Fortunately for him, he had named his son Narayan. He called out his son Narayan. And in this way, the Lord said, oh, that is my name, right? So in this way, he sent the Vishnu Dutas. And it is not that immediately he went back home, back to Godhead. He was given an opportunity to practice devotional service. So in this way, the next verse, Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma Shashvat Shantim Nigachati Kaunteya Pratijanami Name Bhaktya Pranashati. So a devotee, even though due to his past conditioning, may perform some abominable activity, he will be definitely excused by the Lord. That is what is mentioned here. But at the same time, one should not make use of this. And just because I'm chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I cannot just go ahead and perform sinful activities, right? That will become Namno Baladi Yasya Papa Buddhi. On the strength of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I go and perform sinful activities. Then the holy name will not deliver us, because we're taking advantage. We're trying to exploit even the holy name. But due to our past conditioning, if at all we somehow engage in some kind of activity which is not to be performed as per the scriptures, yet the Lord is so merciful. The Lord says, if such a person continues to perform devotional service, in spite of their occasional fall down, he will be brought back, he'll be reinstated as a devotee of the Lord. And nobody should actually criticize that particular devotee. Then what happens? The person who actually had an accidental fall down will start progress in his bhakti. But the person who's criticizing him, that person will fall down. So we have to be careful about our own spiritual life, right? We let other people take care of their own life. They have their own gurus who can correct them, right? We can only take care of our life. And the people who are dependent on us, we should help them as much as possible. So in this way, very beautifully said. That is why we should never comment on any particular devotee, about any particular action of any particular devotee. Right? Next verse, very, very wonderful verse. Let's read that verse now. Who will read it? Okay, Moshmi Mataji, go ahead. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya prati nami pranashyati. Okay, some sounds are coming, Mataji, from your side. Okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, you're audible. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll read the synonym. Sipram, very soon. Bhavati becomes Dharma Atma, righteous. Sasvat Santim, lasting peace. Nigachati, attains. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Partijanti, declare na, never, me, my, bhakta, devotee, pranashyati, perishes. Translation: he quickly becomes righteous and attain lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. But this should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then how can a person engage in abominable abominable activities either by
Mataji,
the
you should have the Bhagavad Gita with you, Mataji. When you have the Bhagavad Gita with you, now it becomes easy for you to read. Right?
yeah
Otherwise,
uh,
if you have the screen, it is not very congenial to read, right? You should please have the
yeah.
Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Okay. Activities either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee. The question may justly be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to be devotional service of Lord, have no good qualifications, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing or material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is certain regulations that if one falls down from the uh,
Exalted position.
exalted position he has undergo already there is the heart of the devotee due to the remembering of Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare here, should be continuous without stopping. This will protect a devotee from all accident fall down. He will thus remain perpetually free from the material contaminations. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Oh, sorry. Hare Krishna. So next time, Mataji, just keep a book with you so that it's easy and easy for you to refer and read. Right from the screen, it's very difficult to read from the mobile. Okay. So what I was saying is the very wonderful verse. This is an extension of the previous verse. Kaunteya prati janehi nami bhakta pranashyati. This is a declaration. This is a promise made by Krishna himself to the devotees that my devotee never perishes. Right? We were also discussing the other day how Krishna was willing to forego his own promise, but he will never forego the promise of his devotee, right, or the words of his devotee, right? Whether it is Arjuna promising that I will kill Jayadratha, or whether it is what is his name, Bhima, actually promising that I will kill Dushasana, I will tear apart the janga, right, the thighs of Dushasana, right, whatever may be the promise, right, Krishna has ensured that he creates the circumstances and he also ensures how the devotees can fulfill their own vows, or how he can help them practice or fulfill the promises of the devotees, right? Even if there may be a situation when he has to break his own vow to fulfill the vows of the devotees, then he actually does that. Okay, text number 32. Let's ask who else is remaining. Sudha Mataji, go ahead. 32, 33, and one more devotee can read 34th verse. We'll end chapter 9 today. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Dandat Mataji, yes.
मां हि पार्थविपाश्रित्य ये स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रास्तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम्. Synonyms: Ma of me, he certainly, Partha, O son of Pritha, Vyapashritya, particularly taking shelter, ye those who api also Su are Papa Yonaya, born of a lower family, Striya, women, Vaishya, mercantile people, Katha, also Shudra, lower class men, they api, even they, Yanti, go, Param, to the supreme, Pratim, destination. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they may be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. Purport. It is clearly declared here by the Supreme Lord that in devotional service there is no distinction between the lower and higher classes of people. In the material conception of life, there are such divisions, but for a person engaged in transcendental devotional service to the Lord, there are not. Everyone is eligible for the supreme destination. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.18, it is stated that even the lowest, who are called Chandalas, dog eaters, can be purified by association with a pure devotee. Therefore, devotional service and the guidance of a pure devotee are so strong that there is no discrimination between the lower and higher classes of men. Anyone can take to it. The most simple man taking shelter of the pure devotee can be purified by proper guidance. According to the different modes of material nature, men are classified in the mode of goodness, Brahmanas, the mode of passion, Kshatriyas or administrators, the mixed modes of passion and ignorance, Vaishyas or merchants, and the mode of ignorance, Shudras or workers. Those lower than them are called Chandalas and they are born in sinful families. Generally, the association of those born in sinful families is not accepted by the higher classes. But the process of devotional service is so strong that the pure devotee of the Supreme Lord can enable people of all the lower classes to attain the highest perfection of life. This is possible only when one takes shelter of Krishna, as indicated here by the word Vyapashritya. One has to take shelter completely of Krishna. Then one can become much greater than great Gyanis and Yogis. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So whether women or Shudras, right? Kali Shudra Sambhava. Everyone is a Shudra and Kali Yuga. And here, women basically refers to those who are in the bodily platform, those who are not in Krishna consciousness, right? Otherwise, we know that everybody is Prakriti only in this world, right? Ekala Ishvara Krishna or a Sabha Britya. So only Krishna is the Purusha. Everybody else is Prakriti. Everybody else has to engage in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, text number 33. Let's go ahead. Manimala Mataji. Okay, Shobha Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Text number 9.33. Simpuna Brahmana Punya Bhakta Rajarsaya Tatha Anityam Asukham Lokam Imam Prapya Bhajasramam. Synonym translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Kim, how much? Puna, again. Brahmanas, Punya, righteous. Bhaktas, devotees. Rajarashyas, saintly kings. Tatha, also Anityam, temporary. Asukam, full of miseries. Lokam, planet. Imam, just. Prapya, gaining. Bhajasva, be engaged in loving service. Mam, unto me. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. How much more this is so far the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporarily miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Purport. In this material world, there are classification of people, but after all, this world is not a happy place for anyone. It is clearly stated here, Anityam Asukam Lokam. This world is temporary and full of miseries, not habitable for any sane gentleman. This world is declared by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be the temporary and full of miseries. Some philosophers, especially Mayavadi philosophers, say that this world is false. But we cannot understand. But we can understand from Bhagavad Gita that the world is not false. It is temporary. There is a difference between temporary and a false. The world is temporary, but there is another world which is eternal. This world is miserable, but the other world is eternal and blissful. Arjuna was born in a saintly royal family. To him also the Lord says, take to my devotional service and come quickly back to Godhead, back home. No one should remain in this temporary world, full as it is with miseries. Everyone should attach himself to the bosom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that he can be eternally happy. The devotional service of the Supreme Lord is the only process by which all problems of all classes of men can be solved. Everyone should therefore take to Krishna consciousness and make his life perfect. Haribol. Thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, Janma Sarthikari Parapakara Paropakar. How do we do Janma Sarthikari? Simply by engaging in devotional service. And what is the difference between temporary and false? False means there is nothing happening. It's like a dream. No, it's not a dream. When somebody pinches us, we feel the pain. It's not false. But it is temporary because that painful occasion also will pass. Right? It's not that we are perennially in pain. Right? If there is a pain, then that we saw that dream story. This too shall pass. If you are happy, that situation also pass. If you are sad, that situation also pass. So that's why a devotee is not attached to any condition, knowing well that everything is a passing phase, and one need not worry so much about it. All right, last verse of chapter number 9. Very, very wonderful verse. This verse is also repeated. The first two lines of this verse are repeated in 18th chapter also. So Manimala Mataji wanted to read 9.34. Go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Yes, Mataji. 18.65, it is also repeated.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Manvana bhava mat bhakto matyaji mam namaskuru mamevo eshyasi yukte bam atmanam mat parayanam.
Atmanam mat parayanam.
Atmanam mat parayanam.
Synonyms?
Okay, Mataji. Matmana, always thinking of me. Bhava, become. Mat, my. Bhakta, devotee. Mat, my. Yati, worshipper. Mam, unto me. Namaskaru, offer obeisances. Mam, unto me. Eva, completely. Esyashi, come. Yuktava, evam, being absorbed. Atmanam, your soul. Mat, parayana, devoted to me. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of his contaminated material world. Sometimes unscriptural commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to me, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Unfortunately, unscriptural commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. Body, mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Kurma Purana, as it is quoted by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhashya comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita 5th chapter Adi Lila, verses 41 to 48. Deha dehi videdo yam nashvare vidayati Mataji.
Deha dehi vivedo ayam. That means there is no difference between the deha and dehi of Krishna, because there is a difference between my body and myself, whose I am the soul. But there is no difference for the Supreme Lord. Neshware vidyate kvachit. No difference in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no difference between the body of Krishna and Krishna himself, because Krishna's body itself is fully transcendental. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. But because the commentators,
which means that there is no difference of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because they do not know these signs of Krishna, the commentators hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the signs of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading the people. There are who are demonic. They also think of Krishna, but enviously, just like King Kongsho, Kingsa's uncle, he was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come to kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love, that is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continually. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and we have several times explained that his body is not material but is eternal, blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Otherwise, understanding Krishna from the wrong source will prove fruitless.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. We'll ask Rohini Mataji to read now. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Complete the purport. Mataji, you're not audible. No sound is coming. Okay, one should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna. With conviction in his heart that Krishna is the supreme, he should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional services practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. The 7th and the 8th chapters of Bhagavad Gita have explained pure devotional service to the Lord that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. Those who are not purely sanctified may be attracted by different features of the Lord, like the impersonal Brahmajyoti, localized Paramatma, but a pure devotee directly takes to the service of the Supreme Lord. There is a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of the demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental, non-devotional activities will diminish, and he will soon be situated without any doubt in complete perfection. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Personality of Godhead takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in this material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the most confidential knowledge. Very wonderful, isn't it? The last verse is like Mataji said. Yes, 18.68 also, the first 2 lines say the same thing. 4 instructions repeated in 9th chapter as well as in the 18th chapter. Manmana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru. Manmana bhava, always think of me. Mad bhakto, become my devotee. Manmana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru, offer your obeisances unto me. Right? If you do these 4 things, ma me vaishyasi yuktaivam atmana matparayana. Any person who engages in devotional service, all of these are 4 angas of devotional service. Smaranam, always thinking about the Lord. Right? What is that? Manmana bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee. Manmana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji, worship me. Right? That is also devotional service. And mam namaskar, offering obeisance to the Lord is also an anga of devotional service. If you do these 4 things, Krishna is promising you will come back to me without fail. Right? And in the purport, Prabhupada very beautifully says that Krishna takes care of his devotees. Right? Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. The Lord loves his devotees and he gives Krishna prema to those devotees, and he is continuously engaged in the service of such devotees. Just like the devotees want to serve, satisfy and please the Supreme Lord, the Lord is also very busy trying to serve, satisfy and please his pure devotees. Such is the transcendental competition between the Lord and his devotees, and whatever is the desire of the devotees, it is only for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So with that, we end our Bhagavad Gita session today in the matter of the most, the confidential knowledge from chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Granthra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So devotees can switch on your cameras. Let's quickly do Harinam Sankirtan. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Vishatariне Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranikai Jaya Jagannatha Jai Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana Jai Balagopal Jai Radha Rasa Bihari Jaya Radha Madha Jaya Radha Ram Sundar Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Shri Radhe Jai Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Sadguru Swami Prabhupada Jaya Guru Devani Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Hare Sankirtan की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai Hare Krishna. So I'm able to see Maushmi Mataji, Hema Mataji, Harjit Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, Anusha Mataji, Monimala Mataji, Vijayalakshmi Priya Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining in. We'll meet, today is Friday, so we meet on Monday. Of course, we meet tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock for a Brahma Muhurta chanting session, Japa talk and Japa meditation, 5 to 6:45 a.m. Indian Standard Time. And then we will meet on Monday next for our study of teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I don't see any hands.